I'd like to call the Town Board meeting of July 26, 2022 to order. Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I invite Justin Disher and Morgan Gallagher to come up and help us lead. These two gentlemen are representing their teammates who came, come on up here, who went to Cooperstown last week and did a very nice job representing the town, right? So we're going to remove our hats. We're going to face the flag, and we're going to, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much for coming to do that. I really appreciate it. Thank you for that. Okay, I'd like people to stand, remain standing for a moment of silence to remember those who served our country in the past and for those who continue to serve our country today. Thank you. Please note the emergency exits are the door behind us and the door that you came in the front. Okay, at this time we're going to have a public hearing. So I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing on the local law concerning short-term rentals.
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the public hearing is opened at
7:05 p.m.
7:05 p.m. Okay, I'm going to invite Rita to come up and speak.
Hello, I'm Rita Longo. My concern in coming tonight was, and I didn't realize that everyone here has done a really wonderful job of already putting the proposed law together. And I was here to mainly state my concerns living next door to a current Airbnb rental. I've lived in at Hilton Road for 19 years, and it's always been a small neighborhood. We're on a dead-end circle. You know, we drive your car. You know, I talked to my neighbor John. He lives on the other side. You know, the lady across the way drives up and talks to us at our mailbox. And now we have an Airbnb in which, on some occasions, there's as many as 10, 12 cars packed in the driveway. It's not an owner-occupied facility. It used to be a single-family home, which it still is, but it's being rented out every weekend, pretty much, for like $500 a night. So I had some questions about the taxability of that kind of rental coming in to the owners who are basically not there all the time, but I think some of that's all covered in the draft law that you all are proposing to put out. So I don't know that I have anything more to add, since I'm very surprised to see it. I hadn't seen that before I got here tonight. I did have a list of some things if anybody wants the concerns, if anybody wants to take a look at it.
Okay, and the comments you gave them to us, and we will enter them into the record.
Right.
Okay?
It looks like you've addressed all those things, though. So.
Oh, great. Well, Lisa Cobb is our town attorney who handled the law and did a fabulous job. Thank her.
It looks great, and I really appreciate it. Mary, I just want to thank you personally for everything that you've done, because it's very unsettling to all of us that live there. You know, the one example I gave was one evening a limo bus pulls up and about 15 young people pour out of the house onto this limo bus. They do whatever, it looks like they're going to a prom or something, and they come back, and that limo bus parked in our circle on the grassy area of the roundabout there, you know, and it happened on more than one occasion. On one occasion, I was driving down my driveway, and there's a fellow coming up out of one of the people's driveways that lives off the circle, walking a child, and I said, "Excuse me, what are you doing?" "Oh, I don't know." I said, "That's somebody's private driveway that you're walking up and down." So those kind of things, the sense of security has been lost, the sense of safety, privacy, and all of those things.
A neighborhood, a safety
yeah, the
in
neighborhood feel, you know. Right. John and Naz can attest to that. They live in the same area down there. And so we were very concerned.
No, and as we talked, I share your concerns, as does the rest of the, you know, we share the concerns that you would have for that.
All right.
Did you sign up to talk?
Yeah, I just have a question. Should I go
Okay, it's just comments.
Okay.
So, but come up and
So,
Can you just state your name and your address, please?
yeah, my name is Naz Flory. I live on 74 Sylvan Lake Road. My backyard abuts to Schoolhouse Lane. I've been there for 21 years. Clearly, in the last year or so, there's been way more traffic in the back, on the back street, and people speeding. But this is terrific. What has been done is clear and obvious to me. My question would be, how is it now policed? Like, how do we get this information to the owner? Like, is it up to us to now, like, somebody goes there and has a conversation with them, and then is it ours?
No, we have a plan for that. Would you like to speak to that with the county?
Did you want to say anything else?
No, I just, we don't have to
No.
pay
Confront.
attention to what's going on and run in the house and say, where's the owner, or something like that, right?
Correct.
That's it.
So for anyone who may not have had a chance to read the short-term local law, the way it's proposed is that the only short-term rentals that would be allowed in the town are owner-occupied short-term rentals, and the owner has to be there when it's being rented out. So this eliminates any party houses, it eliminates any houses for, bachelorettes or all those things, and it eliminates someone buying this for an investment purposes. So one of the other goals that we're trying to do of this is to keep housing stock available for residents as opposed to for businesses. So what we've proposed is it's a permit procedure. And anyone who wants to lawfully operate a short-term rental in the town has to get a permit. And in order to get the permit, you have to provide the town board with a substantial amount of information, including safety information and parking information and trash and all that. There's a number of requirements where, on the short-term rental property, they'll have to post where the property boundaries are, so there isn't trespassing by somebody who may not know where the property ends and where the next property starts. And there's a lot of checks and balances in here. And I don't know if you want me to speak about Granicus?
Yes, that was...
Sure. So there's this great program that's run, Dutchess County actually subscribes to it. And it's a company, it's a for-profit company, but the county uses it to collect the hotel rental tax that you're obligated to collect with short-term rentals. And they have agreed with every municipality to subsidize the municipality's use of this service, which will give us a list of who's operating in the town of Beekman. And so the proposal is to have this law go into effect a few months down the road after it's passed, and the interim time will be used to send letters to the people saying, hey, by the way, we've enacted this local law. What you're doing now requires a permit or is not permitted at all if it's a whole house rental. And so, please bring your property into compliance, and we'll give people time to do that. It won't need to have any policing by the neighbors or anything like that. It will be up to the zoning administrator, building inspector to take care of that, any that proceed without that. And we'll be getting reports.
And there'll be an 800, a number for a hotline.
Right. So one of the other things that Granicus is doing, which the town will be subscribing to, is a service. So 24 hours a day, you can call.
7 days a week, you can call
Right.
for a complaint.
Because, as everyone knows, the biggest problems don't happen between 8 and 4 when the town hall is open. So it's weekends and nights and so on. So this will give you a number to call and a place to voice concerns, and it will be, a text message will then go to the appropriate town personnel for that as well.
So I'm sorry if I missed it. Do you now contact them and say that you're operating currently without a permit and you are not present in the house? Like, what happened? In
Right.
other words, they have people that have rented this place right now. They're going to be there next Friday night, and they think they are, and the next Friday night after that. How do we cut to the chase and make sure that those people don't show up?
So procedurally, there's going to be a little bit of time before this local law gets enacted, in part because we have to wait for comments back from Dutchess County Department of Planning. And so we won't be enacting the local law until then. It's really a decision up to the town whether you want to do something in the interim and say there's no short-term rentals allowed in the town now, So you could take enforcement action now if you wanted to, or you can wait until the local law is passed and say, going forward, you'll be required to have a permit, and you won't be able to get a permit unless the owner it's someone's primary residence and that person's living there.
So do you suggest, this is the first I heard, that we could do it now?
Well,
So-
the rule, I believe, the Beekman Town Code has a provision that says uses which are not specifically allowed or prohibited.
But we don't prohibit it right now, so.
Right, but it's the opposite. It says if the use isn't allowed, then
Okay.
by default it's
It's
prohibited.
prohibited.
So
based
I think,
on-
I will check,
What could you check?
absolutely, and make sure that that provision is in there, because it's in most town codes, but not all of them.
Okay.
And if it is, then you have the ability now to police it because it's
Okay.
not an allowed use. And
Okay.
you can, at the same time, give them the heads up that this
That
is what's
coming
working
down the
through,
road.
and,
Okay.
right.
With enhanced enforcement at that point.
Right, and
Right.
just so people know, who may be contemplating, it's not like this house will have no potential financial benefit for these people. They can rent it out long-term for, a year lease or any longer-term lease for the two potential tenants, or they can sell it to someone and, have it revert to a full-time owner-occupied short-term rental, so.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
Are the houses going to be inspected?
So there are provisions.
After all of this goes into
Right, there are provisions which require, among other things, like fire egress and things like that, and we need to know that the septic is sufficient for whatever is being proposed. So anyone who submits an application for a permit will have fairly detailed information that they need to provide, which will be confirmed by the town prior to the permit issuing.
Okay, so let me see, I have the second person, and I'm not sure the name. It starts with a D. Is it?
Me, Mary. So,
Oh, are you coming up to speak on this issue?
no, not on this issue.
Okay, well, you signed up for public hearing.
I apologize.
Okay, so Bill Crane?
Bill Crane, 254 Gardner Hollow Road. I appreciate the real genuine problems that people are facing with the crowding and the parties and the trash being thrown and the noise, but this ordinance goes too far. It creates so many obstacles that it'll practically rule out Airbnbs altogether. And this comes in the context of a town that is increasingly hurting people with the taxes and needs tourism, the tourism has great potential as an industry here. The comprehensive plan, your comprehensive plan actually recommends Economic Development Goal 7, foster a viable tourism economy. We have a beautiful place where we live. The comprehensive plan says we should tell visitors about hiking trails, about historic sites, about our farms. It even asks us to bring in dancers and singers for entertainment. It even asks us to create a tourism center. This is the potential, I think this is the potential of our town. If we want to have reasonable taxes, this is where we're going to have to go. We won't want to, this is going to just rule out Airbnbs altogether. If there are problems with too much noise, too much crowding, address those. But don't take this tactic, which is to restrict and put so many impediments in the way, the detailed permit process. This is it's going to drive out everybody. And then inspection process. We haven't always even had a full-time inspector, building inspector. It needs to be reworked so you can address the problems without ruling out Airbnbs altogether. Thank you.
Okay. Joe?
My name is Joe Tresca. I live on Townsend Road. I have a full-time Airbnb as a neighbor, and they currently live in Jersey. They don't even live in the neighborhood. They don't live in the house. A lot of concerns have come up with trespassing. Their guests tried forcing their way into my neighbor's home, thinking they were at the Airbnb, literally hitting the door, nudging the door, trying to get in at 10:30 at night. There have been a lot of issues with garbage. There was garbage sitting out there for weeks on end, to the point where I had to call the town to figure out a way to clean it up. If someone would clean it up, if I had to do it myself, I would have done it. The problem is the owner is not vested in the neighborhood. If you look at the pictures, that's the current condition of the property. It's very ill-maintained. They only take care of the immediate area around the house. If you go through, there's another picture with about 9 cars where they had a party with about 40 people, where they were supposed to bring outside facilities because their septic system wouldn't hold it. If you look right on the first page of the packet I gave you guys, it specifically states in their policy that they need to do it. Nothing was brought in. So now we live downhill, as do the other neighbors. The other concern that we have, I know the house very well. I was friendly with the previous owners. It's a cul-de-sac neighborhood. Everybody hung out, got along. This is a walk-in closet that they turned into a bedroom. The only way to get in there is through the door. The only way to get out is through the door. This is a second floor storage room that they turned into a bedroom. The only way to get in and out is through the one door. There is no window on either one of these rooms. The other concern, I don't know if it was in the proposal, I read it, is there anything about a 2-family home where there's a physical divide, where there would be access for, say, the owner to live on one side and for them to physically rent out the other side? Is there anything in the proposal about that?
If it's a 2-family, this is designed to allow them only in single-family homes. So if you're talking about a duplex, and I think I don't know that we have the word detached in there, so maybe I'll check and see if we should add single-family detached homes to avoid if it being in the situation of a duplex.
Okay, because the current house originally was a 2-family. It's together, but they split the house down the center.
Was it a legal 2-family, do you know?
Back in the day, I believe it was. The owners that sold just recently, they turned it back into a single family. They gutted the entire one side in wanting to open up the whole house and make it one big floor plan. Husband passed away, she had to sell the house, and now we're currently here. There's concerns that he is going to be finishing the other side of the house, as he's blocked out their whole calendar for 2 months. And I don't think why would you block out an Airbnb for the entire summer? And he just put a 23,000 kilowatt solar system on his roof for a 13,000 square foot house. I have a 10,000 on my house, and it does my pool heater, it does everything. And I still have the stuff in the bank. So my concern is that they're just not vested in the neighborhood. They want nothing to do with the neighborhood. If you look in the packet, I was actually threatened with a lawsuit from the co-host because I asked them to address a drainage issue because one of their guests drove into one of the swales on the road, on the private road, and it now all comes out onto the road. I can't go up and touch it because I was already threatened with a lawsuit. So I am in 100% agreement with this proposal, and I do hope it becomes law because it's been nothing but problems for our neighborhood. People speeding in and out. We don't know who is back there. They tried breaking into my neighbor's home thinking it was the Airbnb. It's a continued issue. Just Friday night, 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, they're out there yelling and screaming, carrying on to the point where I had to go up there and ask them to be quiet.
And I know when we talked, you expressed concern about children in the
My
neighborhood.
daughter, my neighbors have their grandkids. The other people down the street have their grandkids. A new family just moved in with a little girl, and these people fly through the neighborhood. We ask them to slow down. They don't care. They're there to do their thing, have a good time, get drunk, and enjoy themselves. And unfortunately, it's a residential neighborhood. It's not commercial. I don't live next to shadows. I don't need 40 people, as they claim in their ad, for family gatherings and weddings. So I just wanted to say that I am 100% in agreement with this, and I hope it passes.
Okay, thank you,
And I'm
John.
sorry, can you just spell your last name for me?
Tresca, T-R-E-S-C-A.
T-R-E.
S-C-A.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry, I saw you raised your hand. Did you want to come up and comment? Okay.
Hi, my name is Jill Campbell. I live on Lookout Pass. This is the first time I've heard about this law, so that's number one. I mean, I'm pretty active on Facebook and on groups, so I don't know how, as a Airbnb owner who actually lives on the property, I care about my property. I have a 4-acre property, and nobody's staying on our property without us there, so we're the opposite. The great thing about Airbnb is it vets everybody who stays, who comes and stays. So like, you get to turn down people. We've had like just very nice couples come up and families, and we have a guidebook where we recommend local businesses. You know, yesterday we recommended like 3 local restaurants. You know, I recommended the Station House. I recommend La Chambord. I have a neighbor who makes honey. I sell their honey in the Airbnb. It really helps us because we probably, and I've looked at this, pay the most expensive property taxes in this town. I am a freelance filmmaker, and you know, I came up here. I love it. We've been up in this area for 12 years, so we're not newbies to the area. We're up here because we love it. I'm a native New Yorker. I've lived in New York State my whole life. And yeah, I mean, I understand the issues. Like, I would not want to live next to a house where the owner's not there. I really understand that, and the safety issues. And I understand why it needs to be regulated in that way. Like, I understand what everyone's saying. Like, yeah, if somebody's just buying a house and Airbnb-ing it, and the owners don't live there, but for us, it's also like I make dinners for my guests. We get to know each other. We're doing it in like the true meaning of Airbnb, and they love this area. They come up, they love it. And it's been a great experience. It's helped us a lot financially, and I feel like these rules will kill us, and I'm not sure why everything's so regulated. So that's my question. And I'm also not sure why this is how I could have found out about it. Like, if there was, I mean, how do you find out about these things? Why is this the first time I'm hearing about this? Like, how could I have been more aware?
Well, today is the first public hearing on the local law, so anytime a law that changes the zoning code goes in, a public hearing is required, so there'll be a notice about any changes, and this is just the first notice of...
But you were hired using our tax dollars to write up something already without us knowing or approving, or... Well, I'm curious about that.
There's always draft legislation, potentially, or discussions that are in process. So my firm is attorneys to the town, so whenever the town asks us, gives us a task, we try and accomplish it to what the town wishes.
So is the legislation, is it drafted already?
Yes.
Yes. We had copies in the back.
It's on the town website, isn't it?
And it's also on the town website, correct? You put it up on the town website.
I was going to ask that.
Yeah.
It's on the
Yeah.
website.
When did it go on the website?
Should have gone 2 weeks ago after our last meeting,
Okay, so...
when we set the public hearing.
Okay. I just don't know when this first came into, like, being, so that's what I'm curious.
Well, I think over a
As
number of
resident and
months, we've
taxpayer.
had a number of complaints from residents. Additionally, other towns are looking at strengthening their short-term rental laws, if not strengthening them, creating them, because there has been so many issues up here. So
Yeah.
they've been looking. We're not the only town that has looked to address this issue.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of all the
And
issues.
over at least 6 months, I've been hearing from residents about, and communities, in terms of, you're on 4 acres, but some of these people are on 1 acre lots.
Yeah, I understand that.
That makes a huge difference.
I totally understand
Okay.
that. And like, we're very, like, all our neighbors know about it. We
Right,
talk to them,
and I think
and we're not
the 4
outside,
acres
so I
makes a
get it.
difference. The other difference is that you are hosting it.
Yeah,
What
we're there.
they're talking about is the problems that are unhosted, where they are becoming party homes, party houses in the middle of residential neighborhoods.
I agree with that. It sounds
I think
awful.
the other concern that I've shared with some of the residents who called me, as a mother, a little old now, but more currently a nana, and when I moved up here from New York City, one of the beauties was being able to open my door and send my children outside because I knew my neighbors. If I had neighbors rotating every weekend, that would cause me a great deal of concern to have that. And now I have grandchildren. Again, if I had neighbors rotating, that would cause me a great deal of concern. Just 1 second, again, a mother and a nana, from that point of view, and an educator, that my concern would be that sex offenders have to register to where they live. But to the best of my knowledge, they don't have to register for an Airbnb.
They do have to be verified. You don't have to accept them at all.
Okay.
I'm a mother. I'm an
Do they
educator
have
as
to-
well.
Do they have to register?
So they do. You have to. It's great. Like
The sex offender
you
has to
they have to
register
be
for
verified.
Airbnb?
They don't have to register with
Okay,
Airbnb.
but how do they verify?
They
a sex
check out
offender?
their license. You're told if they're verified or not. So.
But my question is, how do they direct?
But are sex offenders allowed to live in our town?
Yes, but they have to register. And my point is, if they're not registered, then you truly don't know who's next door when you send your children outside.
Okay.
And many of these people have young
my
children.
point is, like, I'm in my home. I know who's coming. I own my home. I care about my home. So we're really careful with who we accept. We turn down people. We only allow 4 guests in the home. That's our rule anyway. Like top 4 guests. And it's usually
Well, I'm
two
going to
parents
speak to
and 2
Airbnb,
kids.
Lisa, and I'd like to confirm that they actually look at.
That's a good question.
Because I don't think I've had that answer.
But Mary, anybody could rent it, and the sex offender could still come to the house.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Yes.
Listen, we have to have rules. We can't. There are.
A sex offender could live next to me and
Yes, but he's got to be registered.
deal with my
10
child
people
and
do
attack
that
my daughter who
Airbnb
runs through the
Friday
neighborhood.
night, and the one person, look, with Venmo and the internet, these owners are not even meeting these people. They're literally leaving
We meet
the
our
keys for them in the mailbox or in some drop.
I understand, like, your
They're
issue.
Venmoing the money. They're not interviewing these people. They're not asked. They're not. And even if they did interview them, they only interviewed the one person that put their name on the paperwork, if you will. There's still 8 other people there.
No, and I understand that, and I think that's the problem with unhosted. You're speaking about something entirely differently, and our law is not looking to eliminate. Maybe you can
it's
speak
also
to that
like
of hosted.
we have dreams of, like, in the future renting out the house for a month, and it's our retirement and going traveling for a month, and that's taking it away from us. I mean, you know,
Well, I think it's 30 days or less, right?
why?
But she'd have to be there.
If we're responsible, I mean, your neighbors don't seem responsible, but we are.
You cannot assume that
Yeah.
the other 30
Can I just
Airbnbs
interrupt for a
in
second?
Beekman
You know
are
what?
all
Can I just
Airbnbs.
interrupt
there's
for
only
a second?
10.
Because it's really not a debate. People make comments, and then, so if you're done, then you can come back up and make your
I
comment
think there's
again.
only 10
Or-
in Beekman from what I saw, Airbnbs. But I'm just saying, like, it's taking away, I mean, it's taking away forever an income, and it's also taking away a way to share this beautiful area.
Can I just
With
ask you,
other
the space you rent out is not within your home, it's a separate structure?
Yeah, like we have an apartment above a garage. We have
Okay.
a C of O. We've paid $1,000 extra in insurance, and we live there. So
Okay, I just want to make sure so
so
that the
this
board
would-
knows. So
would
this,
not be able to
your,
do this.
your potential rental, right, even though the owner is on the property, because it's in an accessory structure as opposed to in the house with the owner, it would not be allowed under the
Right.
way the law
So I
is
guess
currently
it's like,
drafted.
yeah, maybe there's something to, I agree, the owner should be on the property. I 100% hear what my neighbors are saying. I
Okay.
get it, like, I do
Thank you.
not want strangers, you know,
Okay.
and we do not,
Okay.
we have a
Thank
no
you.
party rule.
Okay,
We have a no, we don't want,
right.
you know, we have 4
Okay.
people coming.
I'm trying not to
Yeah.
have it repeating the comments.
Yeah,
So we
so-
understand your point of view. Joe, did you want to come, but you have to come up, wait, Joe, you have to come up and make your comment to the board, not to address it, Joe, address it to us, not, okay?
Overall, it sounds like the bad is outweighing the good. It sounds like the bad Airbnb, there are people that are trying to do it the right way. And they are going to be impacted by this, as you said, with the detailed list and everything else. I mean, like I said, I am for the proposal going through, but I don't know if there could be any adjustments because they are home when their people are home. And like I said, it sounds like all the people that are doing it the wrong way are hurting the people that are trying to do it the right way at the end of the day. I have a huge problem with them doing it right behind my house, but I think if they were behind my house doing it, it wouldn't be that big of a deal.
Probably
at the
not,
end of
it
the day.
sounds like,
So-
okay. If you'd like to come up and, okay, and then I'm going to let you, and then that should be everyone who's, we'll see.
I'm Jill's husband.
I need your name and your address, please.
Sure, Lookout Pass in Stormville. Greg Gerhard.
Greg Gerhardt?
Gerhard.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you. Joe? Yeah. Joe, thank you. So I would agree with your assessment. It sounds to me, and well, let me level set. So I have not had a chance to read the current proposal, and I could not find it on the website. My next door neighbor at the chair just said it was buried in the meeting minutes from last week or 2 weeks ago, so I'll go dig through that. So I have not had a chance to read it. But yes, my concern would be first, of course, for our own thing, I don't know what the proposed legislation is for an adjacent, not your primary residence, right? The apartment above the garage. Or if somebody else has a different situation, right? Their apartment elsewhere, right? The reason we bought the property to begin with was because it had that situation, because our daughter, at the time, fiance, now husband, is deathly allergic to dogs, hives, ends up in the hospital, etc. So we searched for 3.5 years to find a place that has some property, has an apartment, that has a CFO, has everything. We did everything right to find this in order to be able to accommodate our daughter and her now husband, right? So now that they're gone and we've moved out to California, it seems right to me that we have the ability to be able to rent this out because it was legal to begin with when we bought the place. And by taking that away and saying, hey, no, you can rent out legally your bedroom next to your master bedroom. If you want to have strangers live in your house next to where you sleep, that's okay. But I can't have a legal apartment, right, rented out within my own property. Like, I just want to be, I'm concerned about that if that's what the proposal is.
Just for clarification, you could have it rented as a legal apartment, which is different from a short-term rental.
Okay, no,
under this,
short-term rental,
right.
Yeah, I don't want it as an apartment. I don't want a long-term owner, because the prior owners, we bought the house, had somebody living there who, when we were buying the house, the dude was crazy. Like, I'm just, right, he's like, you just know, instinct-wise, I'm like, all right, we're showing up here, we want to buy this property. He's got, you know, just like gun casings and shells everywhere and not stable. Like, you can just tell that. I'm like, I don't want somebody living long-term on my property 50 feet away from my primary residence. So yes, it's for a short-term rental, right? And I just think if that's not under consideration, then something is inherently wrong or flawed with the logic of the proposal. And I say that without having read the proposal, so I'm just hoping that's taken into consideration. Because that is, like, from traveling around the area, that is all over the place. We looked at a place in Millbrook before Stormville, had the exact same thing. And we were considering buying that, and then we liked Stormville better. And yeah, we pay a ton of taxes, right? So it's frustrating if that is going to be taken away, because I certainly use the money to help pay those taxes, right? We use the money to pay the grounds crew that comes over to take care of the property, right? We use the money to help pay for, like, you know, the local guy to put in a new boiler, right? Like, all of the money that we make goes into the local economy. So it's not like we're hoarding it. We're not wealthy. We're just having to refuse that money into what we can do for the property, right? We do recommend that everybody have a whole guidebook about local restaurants, et cetera. The rail trail, we've had people like bicycle up from Manhattan to come here. We've had people come for weddings because they can't find hotels. The hotels were booked out, and they'll tell us, they're like, thank goodness you had this place, because I haven't seen my dad in 40 years, and I came back to visit him for a weekend, and I was able to stay at your place because it's local. It's hard to find local hotels and establishments in this particular area. And like as my wife pointed out, there's very few rentals within this zip code if you look on Airbnb. Very few. Right, so I get, like, I don't live where you live, right? I understand that concern. It'd be like having college housing right next to you, right? I totally get it. Like, I wouldn't want to live like that either. But having somebody live on, like, having the stay-at-home management or property owners versus pure rental house, I think are just two inherently different business models or individual models.
Okay.
So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate that. Okay. And I think that was everyone who signed up. Did we have any written comments?
We did not.
Submitted besides Rita? We have yours. They'll go on the record. Joe, yours will go on the record too. Will be submitted for the record. Okay. Then I think what we will do at this point, did you have anything else you wanted to add, Lisa? Okay. So at this point, I think what we'll do is we will look to adjourn the meeting. So I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. For those who may not be familiar with that, means that we're going to adjourn the public hearing until our next meeting, which is August 9th at 7 p.m.
And is that 30 days from when the county, will the county have had 30 days by then, Maureen?
Lorraine, will the county have 30 days at that point? Do you have the
Hold on.
date when they should be back?
I mean,
to us?
it's probably close, so they
It's
will
probably very
probably
close.
have their, I think we did it on the 12th.
I mean, the other problem could be the summer, people
Right.
on vacation, so maybe
So, I
some
mean,
delay.
it's up to the board whether you want to, I guess it's likely that we'll have county comments by then, so the board could act.
Right.
Alternately,
And if
if,
not, we'll just adjourn
right,
it
and if
again.
the board decides that there are any changes that they want to make to this proposed local law, it will, any revisions will need to sit on the desks of the board
Right.
members for at least 10 days prior,
Right.
so.
Right, so I think we'll do that. Okay,
Towards the
so
12th, the 9th?
I'm going to make a motion to our next meeting, right. I'm going to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing for short-term rentals until August 9th at 7 PM.
Okay, before I second,
Oh, sure.
I'd like to suggest to those who are here or watching, if you haven't read the proposed legislation, please go online and read it. There will be further opportunity to speak publicly or send in written comment.
Yes, for the next meeting.
I'll second.
Okay. All in favor?
Is the proposal on first town website page, or is it buried under agenda?
Okay, it's not buried under the agenda. I'm not sure where it is, but we'll make sure it's there, and if somebody would like to stop into Town Hall, we'll make a copy of it available on the counter in the town clerk's office. Okay?
And there are copies in the back for those who are here.
There were copies, I don't think there are any more left. Yeah, there were several. I don't know where they went to, but this afternoon. Okay, so I got a second to adjourn.
I'm sorry, next steps, I'm just trying to understand the next steps. Is it the proposal, it's written, the vote is yes or no at some point in the future, or can the proposal be I would say amended or tweaked or adjusted?
It can be all of those things. All we're doing is leaving the public hearing open, because we're waiting also to hear for comments from the county. Okay? No, no, we're
And-
just
and-
leaving it open.
I guess currently it's a document that's a work in progress.
Okay? So you second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The public hearing is now closed at
7:38.
7:38, okay.
Just so you guys know, if you're, for the next meeting, if you're doing any written comments or sending, you have to get it to me by 4:45 on that day. Okay, of
If
that
you're not
meeting.
coming,
If you're not
if you're
coming.
not coming.
You could email
Otherwise,
me,
you
you
can
can
bring
drop
them.
it off.
If we're not coming.
Only if you're not coming.
If you're coming, then you can bring them with you, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay?
Oh, I don't know, do we have any?
No, so next is Carol. Carol, our library, excuse me, Bill, we're moving on to our next
Meeting's-
presentation. If
meeting's
you want to
still in
have a
progress.
conversation, you could go outside. Carol, very nice to see you. Finally, we've been trying to do this for a while. Thank you for coming.
Right, thank you.
Presentation, it was May.
Yes.
All right, bear with me to get this.
When you open it up, you're going to see HP scans. You don't want to look at that. It's just the PowerPoint. It's like hanging out there.
Okay, all right.
There, go into, yep, there you go. And there you go. Town board presentation. No, not that.
Go back one.
Go back. That's okay.
Sorry.
There you go. Yep. That's it. And then if you go to the top of the screen, you should be able to do slideshow. Go to
Animation. Slideshow.
slideshow, yeah, all the way over between, right there, yeah. Yep, and then from the beginning.
All right,
There you go.
thank you.
Hi, everyone. The room kind of cleared out, but that's okay.
It wasn't you, Carol.
I'll be honest, I prefer a smaller group, so it's all good. And it's being recorded. So.
Yes.
So, hello everyone. First, I just want to thank Mary and the members of the town board for inviting me. We've been trying to do this for a few months now. Things just haven't worked out. So I'm happy to be here. I'm Carol Fortier. I'm the director of the library, the Beekman Library. And I just want to share with you some things that are going on in the library so you are aware of what's happening at that building over there on Clove Valley Road that you may or may not have ever been in. Due to the pandemic, needless to say, it's been a couple years since I've been here and had a chance to really speak with all of you. I'm happy to say that the pandemic, unfortunately, I'm not happy to say, was really, really hard at the library in terms of the number of people coming in, but things are finally turning around, and I think that we are actually now back to pre-pandemic levels in terms of people coming in, both with checkouts and with programs. So the first thing I do want to talk to you about, Lorraine jumped ahead there with programs. I just wanted to share with you a little bit about what we do with programs at the library. Programs are actually a big part of what we do, and I know sometimes it seems odd to people because they think of the library as a place where you just go and get like books and information. But I'm sure everybody here knows somebody who is a person who learns more with either hands-on learning or learning from another person, seeing something demonstrated in person, and that's why programs are so effective. It's just another way for people to be able to learn things at the library. So we have basic areas that we focus on with programs. Number one is literacy. Obviously, that's a very big part of what we do at the library. We do a lot of STEAM programs, which are science, technology, engineering, art, and math. Those tend to be focused very much towards children. We do a lot of informational program for adults, and another thing that's important, when we did our research for our long-range plan, we found out that people really want to be able to do things at the library that are really going to connect them with their neighbors. So we are trying to also do some programs where people have that chance to interact with their neighbors. Laureen, you can go ahead and move it again. So in terms of literacy, literacy obviously is really central to our mission, and when we talk about literacy at the library, we're talking about early literacy for really little children, pre-reading, the things that are important to them so that when they get to school they're ready to learn how to read. We also are very focused on making sure we have early readers for young children that are just starting to read. With everything with the pandemic, we've had a lot of parents coming in and being very concerned about where their children are in terms of their reading level. So we've done a lot of support with regard to that as far as helping people get the right kind of materials for their children. And then the other kind of literacy that we talk about a lot at the library is digital literacy, because in this day and age, if you are a person who isn't real comfortable with technology, it's very hard to succeed. So that's really important. So that is the other thing that we do. So I'm not going to show you all slides with boring words on them. I promise I'm going to show you some fun pictures. So Laureen, go to the next one there. Okay, that's one of our story times. This is one of the best things that ever came out of the pandemic, I have to tell you, is that we took story times outside on the front lawn, and they love it so much nobody wants to go back into the building for story time. The kids love it, the parents love it. My youth services staff say that the kids are more attentive, the parents are much more relaxed. So story time is now on the lawn under the tree. That's until the weather is so cold they can't stand it. Then they come inside. Here's a time when they were inside. This is one of our youngest story times. These are babies with their moms or caregivers, and it's all about stories and rhymes and music and lots of times bubbles. There's usually bubbles involved. So the next one, a couple of little guys just did preschool story time, and they did a craft. So, and then the next slide is summer reading. I couldn't really talk about literacy without telling you that summer reading is a big deal at the library. It's really a big part of our mission to make sure that kids and parents continue to read through the summer. So we try to do things like great programs that bring them into the building and then get them enthusiastic about reading. You can move on to the next slide there, and you'll see some lucky children last year that won the raffle baskets. Ms. Pauline has done raffle baskets for the last 2 years now, and for every 30 minutes that you read, you get a little raffle ticket, and you get to put it in. And then at the finale, you get to win a basket that is almost as big as you in some
Yeah.
cases. So the next slide shows the baskets from this year, and also you can probably figure out the theme this year is Oceans of Possibility. So we have the octopus, and it wouldn't be complete without a shark, and I thought those kids were just too adorable in the shark. So that's just a little comic relief. Okay, you can move to the next one. Book clubs are also really popular at the library. I never know whether I should put book clubs under literacy or whether I should put them under connecting with your neighbors, because obviously when you go to a book club, a lot of it is about the conversation and the interaction with the different people. We do have various adult book clubs, and we also have ones for elementary age children. The graphic novel one happens to be really popular right now. Graphic novels are huge. So. The next slide shows you, we've had through the years that I've been at the library, therapy dogs, various therapy dogs. Right now we have Bobo, who's a little guy. We've had English Shepherds, and we've had German Shepherds, and we've had Greyhounds and through the years. But really the whole idea is that if children can read to a dog, the dog is a very good listener. And children that are reluctant readers, a lot of times it's a way to encourage them to read. So that Books with Bobo, we do that once a week. And then the next slide just talks a little bit about digital navigators. Digital navigators, Beekman Library was chosen as a digital navigator for the Hudson Valley. It's a program that's administered by the Southeastern Library Resource Council. And Sue Ray, the assistant director at the library, she went through all the training, and it was a grant, so we did receive $900 after she completed the training and worked with a certain number of patrons. But we're continuing to do that. The whole idea behind Digital Navigators is to help people. Frequently, it's people who are older, seniors, that are not comfortable with technology. I give you a perfect example. We had an older gentleman that came in and said that, and he was a little angry, honestly. He said that he feels that he's being left behind, he's not able to do things, he's not able to find the things that he needs to find out about because everything's online. He's not comfortable with technology. So it was great, really. Sue was able to help him pick out a device that was something that he would be comfortable using, that was a very simple type of iPad that was simplified for his needs, and then he came in with it, and she was able to work with him, and he was thrilled. So that's really what it's all about, is to make sure that people are comfortable with technology and are able to really access what they need to access. Okay, and then STEAM programs, I already told you what those are, but I'm going to show you a few examples of those. You can move to the next slide. This one, STEAM Explorers, we do this once a month. This one happened to be one where the kids were building computers. If you go to the next slide, you'll see the kids working on, they actually were able to take a computer apart, and then they built a computer. They also were able to, the little girl on the right-hand side there is trying sugar packets to see if she can use them to play a piano on an app. The sugar packets, I believe, did not work. Bananas and fruit worked because they have liquid in them that's conductive. I know, really weird, right? But so like she had, so you're playing like an instrument, but you're playing bananas. Anyway, they had a lot of fun, and they got to learn some things while they were at it. And they learn a lot from each other too, which is a great thing. Legos, I know Legos have been around forever, but you know, they're really like the beginning of engineering. They're like the original engineering toy for kids. So we do a Lego night once a month also at the library. And that's a family event. This here is some kids working on snap circuits, learning how electricity works. And then on the right-hand side is Mad Science. That was actually up at the park behind the library in the pavilion. Okay, and then the informational programs for adults, you can go to the next slide. A lot of times for the adults, what people are interested in is something specific that they want to be able to learn. We found that a lot of people are very interested in nature programs, so like the plant identification skills. We've done a lot of bird watching. We've done gardening classes. Those are things that are really well attended. The defensive driving, people have been begging us to do defensive driving again. I don't know, it's not terribly exciting to me, but we're doing defensive driving because people want it.
I think they've been out on the roads. And they think they get
Well, that's
Route
coming up
9, you really need that class.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That's coming up in August. The next slide actually has two programs that we do a couple times a year, Social Security planning and Medicare. Those are topics that as people are approaching retirement, they're pretty confusing, and it's nice to be able to come to a program where people will walk you through the steps and what you need to do, and then you're able to ask questions. These programs, we've pretty much gone to online for a lot of them because, again, during the pandemic, that's what we did, and people loved it. So the adults, a lot of the adult programs that are informational tend to just be online now, not actually in person. Okay, you can flip to the next one. And then I just wanted to show you some of the programs so that people can connect. And I know the town just did a concert too, just this past weekend, right?
It worked
up at
out
the park,
great.
which was wonderful.
It was wonderful.
Yes, and so we try to do a concert too, at least one a summer, sometimes two. Again, it's just a nice night out for people to be able to interact with their neighbors, and it's free, and it's right here in their town. So
it was, we had Friday night, we had magnificent weather. Everything was perfect.
Yes, it's so nice. It really is.
It was really nice.
Safe Haven Farm, for those of you who don't know about it, is local, and we did Earth Day with them. We celebrated with them, and we had 80 people go to Safe Haven. And they got a chance to learn about their mission and meet all the animals. And I understand that the pigs in the mud were the most popular with the children. They were just fascinated by that. This was a Mother's Day tea that we did, which was also a nice way for people to get together. The next slide is a teen murder mystery night, which the kids had a great time. As you can see, we have somebody who I think is going to be an actor. He was the victim in the upper right-hand corner there. And the next slide is Play Cafe. This is a new program actually that we're doing just this summer. Pauline Maloney, my head of youth services, she wanted to do this. I don't know how many of you have heard the term COVID babies or COVID kids. A lot of parents of children that were born right before COVID or during COVID, you know, their kids aren't really very well socialized. They spend a lot of time with maybe just mom and dad and nobody else. So this is a nice way for them to, it's really just a play group on the front lawn, and the caregivers get to get, you know, coffee or tea, and they interact. One of the nice things that happens at the libraries frequently with this type of a program is that people form friendships, you know, and, you know, parents really need that, obviously, to be able to meet other parents, and this is a great way for them to do that. So, the next slide is a movie on the front lawn, which also another nice night to get together with neighbors. And then the next slide is something that we do. We try to do a couple times a year where we give residents an opportunity to provide for their neighbors in need. We always get a great response when we do this. This past year we did a diaper drive for the United Way. We also did the Great Give Back for the Grace Smith House. We made cards for veterans and at Castle Point, and those were delivered to them. And then we also had a Brownie Girl Scout who wanted to collect for the Ukrainian refugees, so that was another thing that we did. And we always get just a great outpouring, and I know, Laureen, you do a lot of that as well at the town hall.
I try.
Collections, and it's great, you know, because I think people do want to do things in the community, and I think it makes it easy for them, a way that they can contribute. So.
The girls for the Brownies, they did a really great job. They collected, I mean, I think the mom came here twice and she filled her minivan up
yes.
with all this stuff. And
yes, and I saw when the donation took place at the JCPenney site.
Oh, nice.
Too. Yes,
that's cool.
Yeah. So Library of Things, I don't know if anybody's ever heard of that. It's kind of a new thing in libraries where libraries have items that you can check out so that you can learn something, but it's not something you would typically think of checking out at a library. So for example, we have, the next slide is, we have a microscope kit and a telescope kit. It gives, and pretty much we do kits where you get whatever it is, but you also get like a book, you get whatever it is that you need. So the microscope kit, you get a book showing you how to use it, but you also get slides, you get sample slides. We've had homeschoolers that like to use that. The telescope kit is just a fun thing to do when you hear that there's going to be a lot of planets that are going to be very visible. It's a great time for people to check that out. Next one, we have a ukulele kit.
Oh, cute.
And funny, actually, we had somebody who borrowed it because she thought she might want to learn how to play a ukulele and get one of her own. And before she returned it to us, she broke the string. She felt so bad. She went down to Music Box. She got the string repaired. She ended up buying a ukulele from them and taking lessons. So, see, we even helped the local economy with our ukulele kit. So, and she did return it. Yeah. So, in one piece. The bird watching kit actually is super popular. And these two, we've had these forever, the thermal leak detector and the energy use monitor. I don't know, maybe they'll be going out more now if their electric bills look like mine. The next slide is the Wi-Fi hotspots and the laptops. A lot of people don't know that we do have these, but lots of times people use them. I mean, if you don't actually have Wi-Fi at home, there certainly are people who don't have internet access at home still in our community, but a lot of people use them too because our Wi-Fi can be spotty in our community depending on where you live. It's great to have them if you're traveling. We have somebody who checks them out regularly every time she thinks the storm is going to knock her power out. That's another nice little thing that we have at the library. And you can also check out laptops. And then the next thing I want to share with you was our museum passes. We have passes that, they're all a little different, but you can get in, usually it's like a family of 4, but the rules are a little different for each of them, and you have to call us and check on that. But the American Museum of Natural History down in the city, we have Storm King Arts Center. The next slide is Mohonk Preserve and the Trevor Zoo in Millbrook. And then the final one is the FDR Presidential Library and Museum. So you just give us a call and we can reserve the pass for you, and then you just check it out like you would check out a book, and then when you go to the institution, you give them that instead of paying to get in. We basically paid for it. We pay a library fee for it. So, okay. And then the final thing I just wanted to share with you is I know this is a community where a lot of people work outside of the community, so I just wanted to let you know that we do have a million things online. You don't really even have to come into the library. I mean, we want you to, but you don't have to. You can actually get a library card online. And Laureen, if you go to the next slide, we have 2 services, Hoopla and Canopy, both have streaming video. Hoopla also has streaming music and ebooks and audiobooks. Both of these services, you don't have to wait for anything, it's instantaneous. The next slide is Libby, which is really, if you like to read bestsellers, you want the newest things that are out, the new releases, Libby is the better way to go. But frequently you may have to wait for something, so I always tell people, have both apps, because if you can put something on hold on Libby and then go to Hoopla and actually check something out immediately. And then the next slide is Tumble Books. We also have Tumble Books for little kids, which is basically picture books being read to them where the words are highlighted as it's being read, so it's a great way for them to practice reading. Creative Bug is for just what it sounds like, for people who are really into crafts, thousands of classes actually on that. We also have language learning. We have Universal Class, which is something that where you can take courses and actually get continuing ed credit. And then finally, we also have business services at the library. The last slide, there you go. In case you didn't know, a lot of people I know don't maintain their printers at home anymore because they're expensive and they're a pain in the neck. So a lot of people come to the library just to print. So I like people to know that we do have remote printing. You can just call us and you can email it to the printer and then just come and pick it up. We also have scanning and faxing at the library, which we do a lot of that as well.
Is there a charge for that?
Yep, we do charge for it, but it's reasonable. We call around, make sure we're not higher priced than anybody else. We just try to cover the cost of managing it. So. And then the last slide is just to give you a reminder of how to find out what's going on at the library, because I know sometimes it is very difficult to keep track of what's happening all over the place in town. And I mean, the best thing to do is go to our website, but I also understand that can be tough for people. So If you, if you sign up for our e-newsletter, which you can do on our website, then you're going to get an e-newsletter every single month, and you're going to know what's going on. We have print newsletters that go out twice a year, April and October. And we're also on Instagram and Facebook. So if you're on social media, that's another thing you can do. And then I'm also encouraging everybody to sign up for Burbio, because Burbio is a great way to find out what's going on in your community. Burbio is something where you can put in what zip codes you're interested in knowing about, and it will send you an email so that you know what events are happening each week in all the different things that it's all in one email. So you could find out what's happening at the schools, what's happening at the rec, what's happening at the library, all in one email. So I hope I'll see you at the library soon.
Thank you, Carol. It was
Okay.
delightful. I'm glad we were finally able to
Yes, I'm glad we were as
It's
well.
always delightful. Like you said, the pandemic, it feels like it's been forever.
I know, it absolutely
Since
has.
you have visited us. So thank you for making time to come
No
tonight.
problem.
We appreciate
No
it.
problem.
And thank you for all you do for all the ages in town. You have a tremendous amount of,
Thank you. We enjoy it.
yeah.
We enjoy it.
And I know people enjoy coming.
I have a great staff.
You do. She has a fabulous staff. If anyone hasn't been there, her staff is fabulous. They're really wonderful people. So that's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Is this something I can send this, like, did you send that to me? Or?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
Appreciate it. Thank you. All right, thanks,
Thank you, Carol. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the agenda items quickly. We don't have too many. Resolution number 1 is accepting our town board minutes. Resolution number 2 is approving the entertainment for Senior Dog Days of Summer Barbecue. And that is going to be a barbecue. The seniors have decided that they wouldn't do as many bus trips, or at this point, any bus trips that were in the budget. So as opposed to the bus trips, the senior staff decided that they would do this barbecue and see how that goes. And not rule out a trip possibly in the fall, but for now, they're going to do that as part of the senior programs. And then the payment of claims, resolution number 3. The payments from the general fund are high because we had a $132,500 payment for principal and interest of Series 2008 open space bonds. And I have people signed up for the agenda items. Doug, did you sign up for the agenda items or general comment?
General comment.
Okay, so you'll go next. Okay, at the end. Okay, so you're going to be... Okay, Bill? Oh, you're done? Okay. Okay, great. Okay, then, do you want to start? Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, Doug. I'm sorry, Bill. You want general comment or agenda items?
General comment.
General comment. Okay, so you're going to be under general comment too. Okay. Okay, you could start. Sorry.
Whereas Town Clerk Lorene Abatantuano has provided copies of the minutes of the July 12th, 2022 Town Board meeting to all members of the Beekman Town Board, and whereas Town Board members have had the opportunity to review said minutes, now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board hereby accepts the minutes of the July 12th, 2022 Town Board meeting.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I wasn't here, can I second it?
We'll ask the town attorney on that one.
You should, well, I mean, you're going,
I can't
if you're
vote on
going
it.
to abstain, you should postpone it till next month.
Okay.
Because you don't have a quorum that can vote on it.
Okay, so then we'll have to pull the minute. We'll pull.
Okay, I think that happened last month, too.
No, we get caught up on that other one. Okay, so we will pull resolution number 1, and we'll have it on for next agenda. Okay. Resolution number 2, approve entertainment for Senior Dog Days of Summer Barbecue. Whereas the Senior Center has a Dog Days of Summer Barbecue scheduled for Thursday, August 18th, 2022, from the hours of 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Recreation Park. And whereas the cost of the barbecue will be covered by $5 per person fee collected for the party, now therefore be it resolved that the following expenditures be authorized. Sounds familiar for an amount not to exceed $350. That will be for entertainment, music, paper products and associated items, mustard, ketchup, forks and knives for a cost of $100.
I'll second.
Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Stiegler?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mormon? Aye. And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Whereas the bookkeeper has audited and approved claims pursuant to Section 119 of Town Law as set forth in attached abstracts, be it resolved that the payment therefore is hereby authorized as follows. Claim to be paid from the A General Fund, $202,874.42. Claims to be paid from the DA Highway Fund, $34,934.67. Claims to be paid from the SS Dover Ridge Sewer Fund, $1,573.52. Claims to be paid from the SW Dover Ridge Water District, $200. Claims to be paid from the T Trust and Agency Fund, $3,412.66. Claims to be paid from the H Capital Fund, $150, for a total of $243,145.27. Payroll number 15 paid on 7/21/2022. General Fund, $59,843.49. Highway Fund, $18,928.39 for a total of $78,771.88.
I'll second.
Town board discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote, please.
Councilman Stiegler?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mormon?
Aye.
And Supervisor Cavucci?
Aye.
Resolution passes.
Okay. Now we will move to other town board business. Sharon? Yeah.
The Dutchess County Office for the Aging presents free Dutchess County OFA picnics for adults 60+. Live music with Bob Martinson, great food, rain or shine, safe drug disposals available. Watch for the picnic invitations via U.S. mail, and the picnic for the town of Beekman and LaGrange will be August 31st at Freedom Park. Thank you.
I also have a county announcement. Red, White, and You, Dutchess County Veterans Appreciation Picnic, Saturday, August 6th at Camp New Teaming. Poughkeepsie, Dutchess County Executive Mark Molinaro and Division of Veterans Services Director Adam Roche invite veterans to the Red, White, and You Veterans Appreciation Picnic on Saturday, August 6th from 11 a.m. until 3 p.m. at Camp New Teaming, located at 22 Camp New Teaming Road in Salt Point. This free event is open to local veterans and one guest and will be an afternoon of camaraderie, food, and music. Registration is required as space is limited and can be submitted at dutchessnewyork.gov/veterans picnic. Reservation deadline is Wednesday, July 27th.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we come to the public comment section. Bill? Public comments?
Yeah.
Time.
Bill Crane, 254 Gardner Hollow Road. I'm owner of Safe Haven Farm Sanctuary. I love that library presentation, and I want to say that I'm a developmental psychologist who's been pushing very hard for schools to consider outdoor education. With the pandemic, we don't know what's going to happen with it and what variants are coming, and if we could get classes outdoors, more outdoor learning, because the virus dissipates much more rapidly outdoors. So I've been to the school boards in Arlington, I've been to the school board in Pauling, I've written on this issue, and it's just interesting that the library's experience with story time when they went outdoors, it was so much more meaningful, and there's many ways that education would be more meaningful. I've brought pictures of chicory. Just a picture of chicory, and the second one is, this is part of the wildflower identification, my wildflower identification program. You see it all over the chicory. at least you see it all over now.
It's two different.
Soon, the highway departments at the state, county, and local level will be cutting it down. They'll be mowing all this beautiful, beautiful wildflowers down. Pollinating insects depend on it, and it adds just tremendous beauty. It's one of the wildflowers that add tremendous beauty to the town, make it a lovely place. I wish there was some way. I mean, I called this highway superintendent. There's no way it can get in the way. Get in the way of visual sight lines for cars. I just wish there was some way I could get people to respect the beautiful flowers and the pollinating insects on which they depend.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
Doug?
Lorraine, make sure I got 27 seconds left. I have something to say separately from what I'm saying. I'm watching the clock. The town board, from 2012 to present, have really destroyed my family. For some reason, you guys hate me so much, you want to hurt Patty and our kids. We came within a splitting hair of losing everything Patty and I have worked for the 44 years we've been married. You can all agree Patty's a better half and a smarter one. And if it wasn't for Patty, you would have been homeless. That's how close it came. You would have been homeless. You guys used, from 2012 to present, the town of Beekman piggy bank to destroy us. Cost us over $300,000 and not a dime out of your own pocket. I've said this before a million times. From 2012 to now, the town board, I've never met a town board that is so evil, so dishonest, lying, crooked dirtbags I've ever encountered in my life.
Obviously, you read the comments guidelines in terms of calling people names and whatnot.
I'm stating a fact now.
Okay.
So say whatever you want, freedom of speech. And I've dealt with attorneys, and the 7 attorneys I had to deal with. You had Matt Kennedy, Dave Sears, Mike DeFiccio, Dan O'Neill, Ken Strangham, Paul Ackerman, and Mike Caruso have all lied and somehow, some way contributed to destroying Patty and I. And for one reason, I still don't understand what you guys have against me besides stealing our land. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Why you would come after us. If you want me, here I am. But when you go after Patty and our kids, who never bothered anyone ever, it's spineless. It really is. You guys hide behind the Beekman seal. And with hopes, and I'm still doing this, with any hopes, all of you will have a new mailing address, including Bob Schwartz and Barbara Zuloff. You'll be residents of New York State Department of Corrections. I'm pushing for that. I very much am. That's the first thing I'm pushing for, because I don't understand Mary. If I offended you or anybody else, tell me to my face. But I don't. I get along with people. I don't bother anybody. I live
27 seconds, Doug.
27 seconds.
Thank you. For the town employees, the 6 highway guys, Gene and Greg, what you've done, you could very well lose your retirement for life. I've read articles where civil servants have worked 20, 30 years, and for them lying under oath and or not coming forward with the truth, they lost their entire retirement. That's about it.
Okay, your time is up.
Thank you very much.
I'm going to give, could you just stay there for 1 second, Mr. DeMasi, because I just want to clarify
Say
something.
done, Mary.
Great.
Say done. Thank you.
Because you like to be direct, as I do like to be direct.
I would appreciate it.
So are you the same Doug DeMasi who put up a picture of a topless woman with the face of a female TV court judge that you weren't happy with in the town of Carmel in front of the courthouse about 2 years ago? We haven't seen you in 2 years. Would you still be that Doug DeMasi?
This is the same Doug DeMasi.
That's the same Doug DeMasi. So that's the same Doug DeMasi that wants to see me spend my retirement in a prison after you did. Just a moment, I'm not done.
Correct.
That is a vile, disgusting act that degrades, demeans, and dehumanizes women. You want to talk about this town board, prior town boards destroying your reputation? I think you do that all by yourself, Mr. DeMasi. You are really good at destroying your reputation. How dare you come and take my husband out of the last board meeting because I had my grandgirls here, and you said, "Are those your grandchildren?" You make sure you tell her not to bring your grandchildren to the next meeting. Well, let me tell you something, Mr. DeMasi. A man that would do this, I would be more than happy to have my grandgirls here to hear me defend women and put you in your place for what you've done to women. How dare you tell me I can't bring my grandchildren to a town board meeting? So I'm going to tell you something. You stand up here, and you stand up here like you're Mr. Innocent when you did a despicable thing like that. It is despicable.
Mary,
don't you tell me I'm going to prison, considering what happened with you 2 years ago. I'm not done. I'm not done.
All right, when you're
I'm
done,
not
I'll
done.
reply.
Oh, I would like to, excuse me, your time is up.
Yeah,
Your time is up.
That
Now
was
I
you
would
had
like to
3
comment.
minutes. Sorry. It was in the paper, it was in court, it is public record, I've checked with an attorney. Your time is up. It is indefensible. There are pictures out there. It was it's indefensible to have done that. A topless picture, God only knows who that poor soul was, with a court judge that you weren't happy with a verdict that you got in a courtroom, okay? It's despicable. So don't you come in here and tell me I'm gonna spend my retirement. Don't you come in here and tell me my grandgirls can't come to a meeting because you're gonna say something to me? Are you kidding me?
I am telling you.
Done.
I asked.
Do you have something, Warner?
Yes.
Done.
Excuse me.
Done.
Excuse
We've
me.
had this before.
You had
No,
your
you
say.
are not going to respond. You're not going to respond.
You need.
I would just like to put things in perspective,
That's
okay?
Put it in perspective.
So for the last 10 years, every town board is evil and has a vendetta. And you've also complained about the maintenance department, the highway department, and the recreation department. So to put things in perspective, basically over the last 10 years, everybody who's ever worked for the town for the last 10 years has a vendetta against Doug DeMasi and are evil. Is that correct?
Not everyone. No, I didn't say everyone.
Okay, but
I
you
said
must have
some
covered a
people.
couple of hundred people.
But no, I
Oh, at
proved-
least.
I proved the highway department.
Oh,
I proved the highway department.
okay. I'm telling you right now, you're done. No, no, no. Please remove. You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm an evil person. Please leave. But you are the man who put up a picture, a large billboard in front of Putnam Courthouse in the town of Carmel of a topless woman with a picture of a female judge. Despicable.
I would say somebody does have a vendetta.
Compliments.
Yeah, okay. I'm going to tell you something. That's sick. The characters that complimented you are as distorted as yourself, Mr. DeMasi. Okay, I make a motion to...
The board who steals.
Okay, I make a motion to
Adjourn?
This is
adjourn. Yes, I make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second.
I'll second.
All in
You
favor?
don't want to
What?
hear the truth,
Right.
do you, Mary?
No. Okay. Done.